I didn't even notice when the building changed. That's the part that still bothers me. You expect something dramatic when your life turns into a horror story. A loud crash, a scream, a shadow moving across the wall. But for me, it started with a soft, metallic ding. The kind you hear 100 times a day, the kind you stop noticing. I work late, always have. The office empties around 6. By 8, the whole floor feels like a museum, silent, polished, artificial. By midnight, it becomes something else entirely. You start hearing things you can't place. The hum of lights sounds like whispering. The distant rumble of traffic feels like breathing through walls, and the elevator becomes your only connection to the real world. Or at least, that's what I thought. That night was normal. Rain tapping against the tall windows, blue glow of my laptop reflecting on dark glass, a cold cup of coffee beside my keyboard. I remember checking the time, 1:11 a.m. I packed my bag slowly, stretching stiff shoulders. The office lights had switched to night mode, dimmer, colder. Rows of empty desks looked like gravestones. I locked a glass door behind me and walked toward the elevator lobby. The hallway felt longer than usual. Not physically longer, just stretched, like a dream where distance doesn't behave properly. I pressed the call button. The elevator arrived almost instantly. That was the first strange thing. Usually you wait, listen to cables whining somewhere deep inside the building, watch the numbers crawl downward. But this time the doors slid open before I even lowered my hand. Inside, the fluorescent light flickered once. I stepped in. The doors closed. I pressed L for lobby. The panel didn't light up. I pressed it again. Nothing. Then the elevator started moving. Down. Fast. Faster than any elevator I've ever been in. My stomach lifted like I was on a roller coaster. The digital display above the door began counting. 12, 11, 10, normal. 9, 8, 7, still normal. Then it kept going. 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. I waited for the soft chime, for the slowing sensation. Instead, 0. I frowned. There is no 0 floor in this building. The elevator didn't stop. The numbers changed. -1. My heartbeat picked up. There was a basement parking level, sure. Maybe they'd reprogrammed the system. -2. I felt the air pressure change, like descending in an airplane. My ears popped. The lights flickered again. -3. I pressed every button on the panel. Nothing responded. -4. A low vibration began beneath my feet, like distant thunder trapped in concrete. -5. The temperature dropped suddenly. I could see my breath. -6. That's when I realized something else. The elevator wasn't just going down. It was going somewhere. I know that sounds stupid, but you can feel direction in your bones. And this didn't feel vertical anymore. The numbers stopped. The display went blank. Total darkness swallowed the cabin. For a few seconds, I couldn't even breathe. Then the emergency light came on. A dim red glow. The elevator jerked, stopped. Silence. Absolute crushing silence. No hum, no cable noise, nothing. Then the doors opened. I expected concrete walls, parking lines, maybe a maintenance corridor. Instead, there was a hallway, but it wasn't part of the building. I knew that instantly. The floor was carpeted, dark gray, damp-looking. The walls were smooth and windowless. The ceiling lights buzzed weakly, casting sick yellow pools. And the hallway stretched impossibly far, like it had no end. I stayed inside the elevator. My instincts screamed at me not to move. Then the doors began closing again. Panic took over. I stepped out. The doors shut behind me with a final metallic click, and the elevator disappeared. Not moved, not descended. It was simply gone, leaving only a blank wall where it had been. My phone had no signal, no time display. The battery percentage was stuck at 66%. I started walking. Each step sounded too loud. Carpet muffled it, yet the sound echoed, like someone else was walking half a second after me. The hallway smelled like damp dust, like an abandoned hotel. After what felt like 10 minutes, I saw a door. Just one. Plain white. No handle, no frame. Just an outline in the wall. I touched it. The surface was warm. Warmer than my skin. Then I heard breathing. Behind me. I turned. Nothing. But the lights farther down the corridor began switching off. One by one. Click. Darkness swallowed the distance. Click. Another pool of light vanished. Click. The sound was getting closer. I ran. My footsteps echoed wildly now. The door in front of me began to open. Slowly. From the inside. I stopped. Something stepped out. At first I thought it was a reflection. It looked exactly like me. Same clothes, same bag over the shoulder, same terrified expression. But its eyes were wrong. They were deeper, like looking into a tunnel. It smiled. I didn't. Then the lights went out, completely. I don't remember what happened next. I woke up inside the elevator, standing. Doors closed, panel glowing normally, lobby button lit, soft music playing through hidden speakers. When the doors opened, the night guard glanced at me. "You okay?" he asked. "You look pale." I laughed it off, went home, told myself it was exhaustion, stress, too much caffeine. Until the next morning. I got to work early, pressed the elevator button. The doors opened. Inside, the digital display read, -7. And for just a second, I saw another version of me standing in the corner, waiting. So tell me honestly, if an elevator took you somewhere that doesn't exist, would you ever press the button again? I didn't step inside, not immediately. My body froze in front of the open doors, like it had already learned something my mind was still trying to deny. The hallway behind me was normal, morning light spilling through tall glass windows. People talking softly near the reception desk, coffee smell drifting through conditioned air. Everything looked safe, everything sounded real. But inside the elevator, the digital display still glowed -7. No one else seemed to notice. A woman walked past me scrolling on her phone. A man in a suit adjusted his tie in the reflection of the chrome doors. To them, it was just another elevator. To me, it felt like the mouth of something that had already swallowed me once. The doors began to close. I moved without thinking. My hands shot forward and stopped them. If I walked away then, I knew I would never feel normal again. So I stepped inside. The doors slid shut behind me with a soft final sound. The display flickered, then changed. 12. The elevator began moving up. Smooth, quiet, ordinary. My heartbeat slowly returned to normal rhythm. Maybe yesterday had been a nightmare. Maybe my brain had broken under stress. The elevator stopped on my floor. I stepped out. Nothing strange happened. No impossible hallway. No breathing behind me, just the familiar office lights and the faint hum of computers waking up. For hours, I convinced myself it was over, until lunchtime. I was microwaving leftovers in the break room when my phone vibrated. Unknown number. I almost ignored it, but something inside me twisted, the same instinct that made animals sense storms before the sky darkens. I answered. Static. Then, breathing. Slow, measured, too close to the microphone. "Hello?" I said. The microwave beeped behind me. The line stayed silent. Then I heard something else, a faint metallic ding. The exact same elevator chime. The call ended. My phone screen went black. Battery still stuck at 66%. That afternoon, strange things began happening around the office. Subtle at first. A chair moved slightly when no one was near it. A reflection in the window lagged half a second behind reality. The elevator arrived on floors where nobody had called it. By evening, most employees had gone home. Rain started again. The building felt hollow, like a shell after the creature inside has left. I stayed late without meaning to. Work became an excuse. Leaving meant facing the elevator again. Around 11:58 p.m., the lights dimmed automatically. That's when I heard footsteps. Not outside, inside the office. Soft, careful, like someone trying not to be noticed. I stood up slowly. The sound stopped. I walked toward the hallway. The carpet felt colder than before. The elevator lobby was empty, but the doors were open, waiting. The display read, -1. I swallowed hard. "I'm not getting in," I whispered. The lights flickered. The number changed. -2. Something inside the elevator shifted, a shadow moving against shadow. -3. My reflection appeared on the chrome doors, only I wasn't alone in it. Another figure stood just behind me, identical, closer than my own shadow. I spun around. Nothing. When I turned back, the number had changed again. -7. The doors began to close, then stopped halfway, as if something invisible was holding them open. I could hear breathing again. This time, it wasn't from my phone. It was coming from inside the elevator. I should have run. Every logical part of my brain screamed to leave. Instead, I stepped forward, because I understood something in that moment. It wasn't taking me somewhere anymore. It was following me back. The floor felt like it vibrated with a distant pulse. The doors shut, and the elevator began moving sideways. That's the only way I can describe it. Not up, not down, just away from reality. The display went blank. The emergency light came on, and in the dim red glow, I wasn't alone anymore. 6 other versions of me stood inside the elevator, all staring forward, all breathing in perfect sync. Then one of them slowly turned its head toward me and whispered, "You're the last one." The elevator stopped, the doors opened, and this time, there was no hallway, there was only darkness, and footsteps already walking toward us. Have you ever felt like something in your life isn't just happening to you, but repeating through different versions of you at the same time? The darkness outside the elevator wasn't empty. It just hadn't decided what it wanted to be yet. I could feel that the moment the doors opened, like standing at the edge of deep water at night. You don't see anything, but you know something is looking back. The 6 other versions of me stepped out first, one after another. Same posture, same slow breathing, like they were following a silent instruction I couldn't hear. I didn't want to move. My legs felt disconnected from the rest of me. But the elevator doors began to close again, and I understood. If I stayed inside, I would never leave. So I stepped into the dark. The floor was solid, but it didn't feel like ground. It felt like walking on the surface of a memory. Shapes began forming around us. Gray structures, half-built hallways, fragments of office rooms floating in wrong directions. I saw desks stuck sideways against invisible walls, chairs slowly spinning, computer screens glowing with frozen clocks, all reading 1:12 a.m. The air smelled like dust and rain, and something metallic, like old coins held too long in a closed fist. The other versions of me walked forward in a line. I followed because there was nowhere else to go. Somewhere far away, I could hear the elevator still moving. Not mechanically, not normally, more like a heartbeat traveling through the structure of this place. We reached a corridor that looked almost real. Carpet, fluorescent lights, glass office doors, except everything was slightly misaligned, angles just wrong enough to make my eyes hurt. One of the other me's stopped walking. He turned and looked directly at me. His face was pale, tired, older than I felt. "You weren't supposed to come this far," he said quietly. His voice sounded like mine recorded years ago. "What is this place?" I asked. He glanced around like he was afraid something would hear. "It's the version of the building that never stopped existing." I didn't understand. He continued, "Every time someone rides the elevator at the wrong moment, they leave a copy behind. A possibility, a path that didn't close." My stomach dropped. "How many copies?" He gave a weak smile. "You saw 6. That's just yours." A sudden vibration shook the floor. The fluorescent lights flickered violently. From the far end of the corridor, something began moving toward us. At first it looked like a person, then like several people walking inside each other, then like a shape made from shadows trying to remember what human meant. The other versions of me started backing away. One by one, they faded, not disappearing instantly, more like dissolving into the air, as if they were never meant to stay. Soon I was alone. The thing kept coming closer. I could hear whispers layered inside its movement, voices repeating the same sentence over and over. Wrong floor, wrong time, wrong self. I turned and ran. The corridor stretched endlessly. Doors appeared where none existed seconds before. Lights burst overhead like tiny explosions. Then suddenly, the elevator was there again. Doors open, waiting, display glowing 13. I didn't think. I just jumped inside and hit every button. The doors slammed shut. The cabin dropped. Fast. Too fast. My ears rang. My vision blurred. The numbers on the display scrambled into symbols I couldn't read. Then everything went black. When I opened my eyes, I was lying on the lobby floor. Morning sunlight streamed through the glass walls. People were gathered around me. Someone asked if I had fainted. Security said the elevator had malfunctioned. They claimed it had never gone below the basement. They said there was no record of me riding it at midnight. No camera footage. No log entry. Nothing. For weeks I tried to forget, tried to convince myself stress had caused hallucinations. Then one night, I stayed late again. I don't even remember why. Maybe part of me wanted proof. Maybe part of me wanted to go back. At exactly 1:12 a.m., my phone vibrated. Unknown number. I answered. Static. Then my own voice whispered from the speaker, "Don't take the elevator tomorrow." The call ended. I slowly turned toward the lobby. The elevator doors were already open. The display read -7, and inside, someone who looked exactly like me was pressing the button to come up. Tell me honestly, if you saw another version of yourself trying to reach you, would you stop them or let them take your place?